Okay. Hi, Ms. Murray. My name is Amber Williamson, and I will be presenting my AP Literature and Composition exam presentation. I chose this exam because it's my favorite subject, and I definitely just wanted to inform my sister on this information about my presentation. So let's get started. Okay, so the very first thing you should know is when your test is. So the AP Literature exam was Wednesday, May the 4th, 2016 at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's very important to know exactly what time your AP exam is going to be given, because if you miss it, you will have to pay and make up for that, that absence, or if you miss your exam, like I said, you have to pay for it. There are two sections on this test. The first section is a multiple choice, and the second section is a free response. And then the total amount of time for this test is 3 hours. Okay, so inside the AP Literature exam, the test is, like I said, the test is divided into two sections. The first section is multiple choice, and it's weighted 45% of your exam grade. And then the second section is the free response section, and it's weighted 55% of your exam grade altogether. For the first section, you have 60 minutes to complete 55 questions. And for the second section, you have 120 minutes to write 3 free response essays. Okay, continue on with the different sections. For the multiple choice section, they'll be asking you questions based on different poems, passages, and just different literary works for different authors. So it's important to know vocabulary and figurative language, because those different pieces will be thrown in mixed into the multiple choice section, and it's definitely important to time yourself wisely, because those 60 minutes go by really quickly, and it's less than a minute per question. So for the second section, you have 3 essay prompts, and the first essay prompt is going to be a poem, so you'll be writing about a poem that's given to you. The second prompt will be a passage, so you write about a fictional passage, which is important to remember. And then the third prompt is going to be based on a specific text that you've read about in class, so they give you a long list of different works, and then you should be able to notice a couple that you've read throughout the year. So you pick whichever one you want that best answers the essay prompt, and you write about it. Okay, some test taking tips. The first one is to read each prompt carefully. It's definitely important to answer all parts of the question, especially with your essays, so that it's very thorough, and then that the people who score the essays know that you know what you're talking about, and that you write a good, strong essay. Secondly, organize your response. They give you a lot of free space and white area around your prompt and everything. Definitely use that to plan out, okay, this is what I'm going to say first, this is what I'm going to say second, and make very valid points, so that when your readers reading your essay, then it's not all over the place. It's very organized and easy to read. Third, do not repeat the prompt. A lot of people think it's okay to just write exactly what they just told you. That's already there for a reason, so it's important to be very different, because they read a bunch of essays all day, so it's important to have creativity when you're answering the prompts. Fourth, read every multiple choice question, which is what most people do, but they do not read all the answers, so make sure you choose the best answer available. So you may think the best answer is B, but you haven't read D yet, so make sure you read that thoroughly. Fifth, refer back to the text. This is something I had trouble with at first. I would be like, oh, I think the beginning of it talked about this, but make sure if it says, hey, lines 4 through 10, what type of figurative language was in that? You don't just guess and be like, okay, I think it's this one, and keep moving. You still have time to go look back, review it just a little bit, and then answer the question. 6, like I said, review your vocabulary and figurative language. That's something Ms. Hager, which is my teacher, was very well with. She gave us a big old packet, and I was like, oh my gosh, this sucks. But once you go through that packet and you know most of those words in there, they will show up on the test. So you need to know the difference between a simile and a metaphor, and a bunch of different words to help you answer all your multiple choice questions. 7th, review the works of literature. Like I said, for the third essay prompt, you will give a bunch of different books and plays. You should be able to recognize at least 4 or 5 of those that you read throughout the year. So make sure you know a lot about maybe 2 of them, so you can pick which one answers the prompt best. Definitely pace yourself. You only have 3 hours to take this whole exam, so Like I said, for the first section, it's less than a minute per question, so make sure you're moving at a very consistent pace and definitely looking at the time, because you don't want to run out of time. You want to answer all the questions as best as possible in that amount of time. Learn to analyze the text. That's very important too, because as far as the essays, there's a lot of symbolism and a lot of deeper meanings to things, especially in works like poems. So it's definitely important to make sure you know how to analyze what an author is saying and the two different ways to look at one thing. And then lastly, think positive is really something Ms. Hagan always told us to do. So, say I messed up and I didn't get to finish 2 questions on the multiple choice, I can't dwell on that, because they're passing out the next part of the test, which is the essay. So you have to put that behind yourself and then just be able to move forward and do just as good as you think you can in the essays as you think you did in the multiple choice. And that is all for my presentation. Any questions?